you're exhausted. Not from the work you're doing, but from the constant effort of proving yourself, proving you're smart, proving you're valuable, proving you're worthy of respect, attention, love. Every interaction becomes a performance. Every conversation becomes a test, and you're failing that test. Not because you're inadequate, but because the test itself is rigged. The need to prove yourself is a trap, and the more you try to prove your worth, the more you demonstrate that you doubt it. Today, you learn why the need to prove yourself is psychological poison, and what to do instead, something that actually builds genuine confidence instead of performing fake confidence. Let me show you what's actually happening when you're constantly trying to prove yourself. You walk into a room and immediately your mind starts calculating, how do I make sure they know I'm smart? How do I demonstrate my value? What can I say that will impress them? What accomplishments should I mention? How do I make sure they see me as worthy? This isn't confidence. This is the opposite of confidence. Real confidence doesn't need to prove anything. Real confidence simply is. When you're trying to prove yourself, you're operating from a position of doubt. You're starting from the assumption that you're not enough as you are, that you need to convince others and yourself of your worth through demonstration. And here's the trap. The act of trying to prove something reveals that you're unsure of it. Secure people don't need to prove their security. Valuable people don't need to prove their value. Confident people don't need to prove their confidence. The proof itself is the evidence of doubt. Think about it. When someone is constantly telling you how honest they are, your immediate thought is, they're probably lying. When someone keeps mentioning how successful they are, you think, they're probably insecure. When someone repeatedly claims to not care what people think, you realize they care deeply. The same applies to you. When you're trying to prove yourself, people don't see strength. They see insecurity dressed up as confidence, and they react accordingly, with skepticism, with diminished respect, sometimes with subtle exploitation of your obvious need for validation. You're not building credibility. You're eroding it. Understanding why you feel this need to prove yourself is the first step to freedom from it. For most people, it starts early. Childhood. You learned that love, attention, approval, these weren't given freely. They had to be earned. Through achievement, through performance, through being good enough. So you developed a pattern. Prove your worth. Receive approval. Fail to prove your worth. Experience rejection or neglect. Over time, this becomes unconscious, automatic. You're not even aware you're doing it. But there's a deeper problem. Even when you successfully prove yourself, when you achieve the thing, get the recognition, receive the validation, it doesn't satisfy. The hunger doesn't go away, because external proof can never fill an internal doubt. You're trying to solve an inside problem with outside solutions, and it will never work. Marcus Aurelius wrote something profound. I've often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others. Read that again. You love yourself, or at least you want to, more than you love anyone else, but you value their opinion of you more than your own opinion of yourself. This is the core dysfunction. You're giving others authority over your worth. You're making external validation the measure of internal value, and in doing so, you surrender power. Epictetus taught, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. This is radical. He's saying, be willing to be misunderstood, be willing to be underestimated, be willing to appear foolish to people who don't matter. Because if you need their approval, you give them control. If you need them to see you as smart, they control your behavior through that need. You'll perform for them, you'll modify yourself for them, you'll compromise yourself for them, but if you're content to be thought foolish by them, you're free. They have no leverage. You can act according to your own values instead of performing for their validation. This is what stop proving yourself actually means. It means reclaiming the authority over your own worth. So if you stop trying to prove yourself, what do you do instead? How do you operate in the world without that constant performance? Here's the fundamental shift. Move from external validation to internal validation, from proving to simply being, from performance to presence. Let me break down exactly how this works practically. 1. Shift from proving to demonstrating through action. There's a difference between proving and demonstrating. Proving is performative. It's designed to convince. It's oriented toward others' perception. Demonstrating is simply doing. It's action without the need for recognition. It's oriented toward results, not reactions. The person trying to prove themselves talks about what they're going to do, about their qualifications, about their past achievements. They need people to know. The person who stopped proving simply does the work. They don't announce it. They don't seek credit. They don't need others to witness it. The work itself is enough. Results speak louder than claims. Capability speaks louder than credentials. Consistent action speaks louder than constant talk. So instead of trying to prove you're capable, just be capable. Instead of trying to prove you're hardworking, just work hard. Instead of trying to prove you're valuable, just create value. The demonstration happens naturally through your actions, and it's infinitely more credible than any amount of verbal proving. 2. Develop internal standards instead of seeking external approval. Here's a powerful question. What are your standards for yourself? Not what others expect, not what you think will impress people. What do you require of yourself to respect yourself? When you have clear internal standards, you stop needing external validation because you know whether you're meeting your own standards. Your self-respect becomes based on internal measurement, not external opinion. The person seeking to prove themselves is constantly looking outward. Do they think I'm good enough? The person with internal standards looks inward. Did I meet my own standard? Completely different orientation. Completely different experience. Start defining your standards. What does integrity look like for you? What does good work look like? What does a good relationship look like? What does personal growth look like? Then measure yourself against those standards. And let that measurement be enough. 3. Practice secure indifference to misperception. This is advanced but powerful. Become okay with being misunderstood. Most of the need to prove yourself comes from fear of being seen incorrectly. Fear that people will underestimate you, misunderstand you, not recognize your value. But what if that's okay? What if being underestimated is actually advantageous? What if being misunderstood means you're not obligated to perform for those people? The truly confident don't correct every misperception. They don't need everyone to understand them accurately. They're secure enough in their own self-knowledge that others' incorrect assessments don't threaten them. Someone thinks you're less capable than you are. That's their loss, not yours. Someone doesn't recognize your value. They don't deserve access to it then. This indifference isn't arrogance. It's security. You know who you are. You know what you're capable of. You don't need universal recognition of those facts. 4. Let your presence be your proof. Here's something powerful. When you stop trying to prove yourself, you become more powerful. Because proof-seeking is scattered energy. It's attention divided between doing and being seen doing. It's effort spent on performance rather than substance. But when you stop seeking proof, all that energy consolidates. You're fully present, fully focused, fully yourself. And that presence is magnetic. People feel it. The person who isn't performing, who isn't seeking approval, who's just genuinely there. That person has a quality that performance can never create. Authenticity, groundedness, solidity, strength. You don't need to prove you have these qualities. Your presence demonstrates them naturally when you stop performing. Let me give you specific situations and how to apply this shift. In professional settings. Old. Walking into a meeting prepared with credentials to mention, accomplishments to reference, ways to demonstrate your expertise. New. Walking into a meeting prepared with value to provide. You contribute what's useful. You solve problems. You create results. You let the work speak. In social situations. Old. Trying to steer conversations toward your achievements, your knowledge, your status. Making sure people know you're impressive. New. Being genuinely curious about others. Asking questions. Listening. Contributing when you have something valuable to add. Staying quiet when you don't. Letting connection happen naturally without forcing recognition. In relationships. Old. Overfunctioning to prove you deserve love. Constantly doing, giving, performing to maintain the relationship. New. Being yourself. Contributing equally but not excessively. Allowing the other person to show up fully instead of proving yourself worthy of their presence. In conflict. Old. Defending yourself extensively. Explaining, justifying, trying to make sure the other person understands you're right or good or justified. New. Stating your position once, clearly, then letting it stand. If someone misunderstands, that's okay. You don't need to prove yourself to everyone. See the pattern? In every situation, you move from proving to being, from seeking validation to providing value, from performance to presence. When you actually implement this shift, everything changes. Your energy increases, because you're not wasting it on constant performance. Proving yourself is exhausting. Being yourself is energizing. Your relationships deepen, because people are connecting with the real you, not a performed version. And real connection is more satisfying than validated performance. Your confidence becomes genuine. Not the fake confidence of performing competence, but the real confidence of internal security. You're confident not because everyone validates you, but because you know yourself. You become harder to manipulate, because manipulation requires exploiting need. If you need approval, people can manipulate you through withholding it. If you don't need approval, you can't be manipulated through that vector. Your influence increases. Paradoxically, when you stop trying to prove yourself, people respect you more, because authentic presence has more impact than performative proof. You make better decisions because you're acting from internal values instead of external pressure. You're choosing what's actually right, not what will look good. You experience peace. The constant anxiety of needing to prove yourself. Will they think I'm good enough? Did I demonstrate my value? Do they respect me? All of that disappears. You're just you, and that's enough. Let me warn you about what happens when you start practicing this. Your ego will resist, because the ego's job is to maintain your self-image through external validation. When you stop seeking that validation, your ego panics. It will create thoughts like, if you don't prove yourself, people will think you're incompetent. If you don't mention your achievements, no one will know. If you don't perform, you'll be overlooked. These thoughts are lies, or at least massive exaggerations. But they'll feel true. Your ego will try to pull you back into proving behavior. Don't listen. Let the thoughts pass. Keep practicing being instead of proving. Some people in your life will also resist, because they're used to you seeking their validation. They're used to having that power over you. When you stop seeking their approval, they lose that power. And they might not like it. They might test you, try to provoke you into proving yourself again, criticize you to see if you'll defend yourself extensively, ignore your contributions to see if you'll seek recognition. Don't take the bait. Let them adjust to the new dynamic or let them go. You're not here to perform for their validation anymore. Here's what happens when you practice this for a year. Month 1 to 3. Uncomfortable. You catch yourself trying to prove yourself constantly. You have to consciously stop. It feels weird to not perform. You worry people will misunderstand you. Month 4 to 6. Easier, the pattern breaks. You notice you're naturally less performative. You catch yourself fewer times. You start experiencing the benefits, more energy, less anxiety, better relationships. Month 7 to 9. Natural. Being instead of proving becomes your default. You rarely think about it. You're just authentically yourself in most situations. Month 10 to 12. Integrated. You've forgotten what it was like to constantly need to prove yourself. You operate from internal security automatically. And you notice how exhausting other people's proof-seeking behavior is because you remember doing it yourself. This is the transformation. From performing confidence to embodying confidence. From seeking validation to generating it internally. From proving to being. The people who most need to prove themselves are the least secure. The people who never need to prove themselves are the most powerful. This isn't about arrogance or not caring about growth. It's about security. About knowing yourself well enough that you don't need constant external confirmation. You are enough as you are. Not because you're perfect, but because your worth isn't determined by others' recognition of it. Your value exists whether anyone validates it or not. So stop performing. Stop proving. Stop seeking constant confirmation that you matter. Just be. Just act. Just create value without needing credit. Just live according to your own standards without needing approval. The relief you'll feel is profound. The freedom is extraordinary. The power is real. This is mind armor, where proving is recognized as weakness and being is practiced as strength. Stop proving. Start being. Everything changes.